Hello fellow YouTubers, welcome to YouTube Gaming Community, episode number 211. And today we're going to start off with a video with a question, like we normally do. And this time it is from Infectedflinch. It is, Dave asks, when do we stop collecting and are we doing it for the right reasons? Now, everybody collects different things. Some people collect certain systems, some people collect maybe just only PlayStation systems or only Nintendo systems. Everybody has something different they collect for. And most people don't talk about, are we collecting for the right reasons? So when you first start on, maybe you start around YouTube and you start looking around the gaming community and maybe you first get back into collecting. I know I did this, and I think a lot of people did. You start collecting everything. You just grab everything and anything. You don't care about condition. You're just grabbing games to get games. And at that point, I was probably collecting for the wrong reasons. I wasn't collecting for things that were nostalgic to me, that had memories to me first, or a certain system I wanted games. I was just collecting for everything. Kind of just, well, I saw this game at a garage, so I have to have it. Even though I really didn't have to have it, nor did I really care, only till later to find out I didn't. In my case, though, collecting is a little different. I could collect any game for any system that I have, because I like to try them all out and play them at some point. I always want the game on the shelf, so one day maybe I want to pull that game off and play it. I don't care about the value of the game. It's not about that. It's about wanting to play that game and trying it. And see what I might have missed at the time compared to others. Some games age better than others, some don't. But I'll never stop collecting, honestly, because I love to play different gaming experiences. As long as there's a different experience I haven't experienced or a game I haven't played, I would like to try it. That has always been my force about video games ever since I was a little kid. Playing the games and experiences I never got to play. Now granted, being younger, I probably followed the crowd more. Oh, this is the popular game, I gotta do it. These days, I follow whatever I find interesting. Following the crowd to me seems kind of boring at times. Don't get me wrong. There are certain games, like Mario Kart 8, I would love to play. Which on that note, today me and my wife did have discussions about that console with the U at the end. But as for doing it for the right reasons, that's a personal decision. It's like comic books. You always got to have people who collect and collect only a lot to drive up the prices. You always, like, comic books in the 90s were popular because everybody was buying comic books. And a lot of people weren't actually reading them, or like what I was the kind of person, to be honest, in the 90s, I was so into it. Oh man, there's the X-Force 1. I bought 10 copies of it. Oh, there's the first Spider-Man with Carnage in it. I bought 24 copies of it. Just the way it was. In video gaming today, you have to have, in order for anything to go up in value, you have to have a bunch of people that aren't necessarily going to play them or be very active. They just play them and put it on the shelf, whether you like it or not. But for the right reasons, that's a personal question. That is like someone's personal opinion. It's hard. For me, collecting for the right reasons is collecting games you want to play on the system you want to play. Don't like go collect what everybody, the latest and greatest thing because everybody else is. That to me sometimes is the wrong reason. Though there are times you could find a really cool game that way. But anyway, what do you think about that question? Love to hear your guys' opinion below. So the next video we're going to talk about is from StigsGameRoom. It is SGR Reviews. Was it Datel Game Booster for the Sony PlayStation 1. So the point of the Datel Game Booster was it was supposed to be plugged into the back of your PlayStation 1, and it was supposed to play Game Boy games on your PlayStation 1, which sounds really cool. Hey, you loved Game Boy, you have a PlayStation 1, you want to play that on your big screen TV, you plug it in and play it. The only problem is, in his test he found there was only one game he could actually get work. And so, in a sense, this product was, what it should have done, been a failure. But as something to, if you're somebody who wants to collect cool offshot things for the PlayStation 1, you definitely want to check out this video. He does a really good job reviewing it, and, maybe you're interested in it. Next one up is someone we haven't heard from YouTube in at least 6 months, and that is none other than Narox. Most people know him as the Hawaiian guy who drives around in his videos. And the new video is, I bought, Ikaruga Shmup game for $4.99 Steam Summer Sale 2014. He's just basically playing the game. And basically little scrolling things come down because he never shows more than his hand in a video. You never actually get to see what he looks like, one of those mysterious people. So, Ikaruga is an awesome shooter. It does look amazingly awesome on the PC. One of those awesome shooters I've never actually owned or actually played, but it does look incredibly awesome. So if you've never seen it, definitely go check it out. The next one is from Soepschoen. Basically, Lynx, the Atari Lynx-shaped GameCube portable. So what he did was he took an Atari Lynx, he took a GameCube, he took them both completely apart, basically make an Atari Lynx-style GameCube with GameCube parts. So it's actually kind of cool to watch him do this. Again, take everything apart, show you how he did it. Not every step, but basically some of the process of making it, and it does look really cool. If you wanted to see a GameCube kind of made to in a Atari Lynx kind of shell with actually GameCube-like colors, definitely check it out. Really cool. Again, a cool thing people do when they're very creative and with mods. Hey, I want to make a GameCube style portable that looks kind of like an Atari Lynx. Definitely check it out. And talking about modded systems, SilverMongooseVideos modded Backlit GBA unboxing, Dingy DMG model. So I talked about the roll color guys in a video about what they were doing, basically with Game Gears and modding them so they had backlit lights and new LCD screen, new lenses. Well, in a sense, this GBA they kind of did the same thing: new screen, new lenses, a backlit screen, new lenses. So if you want to see what that looks like and where he got it from, definitely go check it out. Again, it's a cool little thing. If people listen, as much as I love original handhelds, one of the most irritating things to do when you play an original handheld, Game Boy Color or whatever, is the fact that it's not backlit. And if it's not backlit, it's very hard to get a good. As I hit my spoon for my coffee cup, it's very hard to find the right angle to watch it properly if you're not in the right light, kind of thing. So anyway, definitely check it out. And now it's time for another question. From Dave, I'm a game geek. Thoughts on selling items from your collection? So basically what he did was he sold off his 3DS and he sold off his PS3 games and all that stuff. His Nintendo handheld and his PS3. Because basically he loves the more retro stuff. And so you just want people's thoughts about selling your collection. My opinion is, you know what? On anything, I think anything you collect in life, your opinions always constantly change. You don't like certain, if it's comic books, you like this character for this couple of years, but you don't like him anymore, so you read this other character you found you like. Just like gaming, there might be some systems you like and don't like. Listen, every person, like for example me, I'm in my 40s, right, early 40s, but I like playing new games, but at the same time, there are a lot of retro games that pull at me from my memories that I like to play more than sometimes the newer games. I could sit there and play Star Trek Online with friends sometimes, or Team Fortress 2, or, whatever. But at the same time, I like to play the old games. And I think your collection shift. I think sometimes people are into one system and that's all they're going to collect. And then later on they're like, you know what, I collected for the system and I don't want it anymore. I just don't want it. So they sell it all off and they move on to something else. Some people are like that. It's just, again, a collecting preference. I think how many of us got rid of all of our games at a certain period? I know I certainly did. During the PS1, PS2 era, I got rid of all my games that I basically had and kind of regretted it, But at times we do that. We do. Nothing's permanent. I mean, so there are times, let's be honest, life gets in the way where you get rid of it because things are going on, you have to. But I mean, honestly, changes life, make you, change your collection. Older in life, unless something drastic were to happen, I don't see me ever getting rid of any of my collection, quite honestly. No matter how good or bad I think the game is. Because, even a very bad game you used to play, you have very fond memories of that game. It's funny how nostalgia doesn't work with good games, but it also works with very bad games. You play it, go, man, that game was really bad. But, I have a lot of memories playing that game. I'm going to get that game again. So, what do you think about, basically, thoughts of selling your collection? I would never sell it all off now, but I did it at one point. And next time around, we're going to now talk about ArcadeUSA in his basic intro video, the Channel F Files intro. Basically, it'll be a 30-part series focusing on games and on the system, the Channel F. So, watch it. It's a really cool trailer. Definitely go check it out. It'd be interesting to see the series when it actually starts on this channel. Now the next video is just one of those quirky videos that you kind of happens in a game that you don't realize until it's released. It's just a goofy thing, nothing changed gameplay or anything, but it's from the 1V Decepticons gaming channel. He also has the 1V Decepticon Transformer channel if you're into Transformer collecting. But in this video, he's basically the 1V Decepticon, everybody do the Grimlock. He is playing the new, was it Rise of the Dark Spark Transformer game that just came out, which is storyline with the G1 Transformers and the movie Transformers. And he's just sitting there going to wait to play, and he's just scrolling along the color palette, what colors going to use Grimlock. And as you switch to the colors, the more faster you switch to the colors, the more Grimlock just does a little dance and eventually kind of falls sideways. Anyway, a cute little short video if you want to see what it looks like. And next up is Infernikus Game Discussion, The Final Fantasy. So basically this game discussion is about, you know, should Square basically bury Final Fantasy, just be done with it. I recently got the original Final Fantasy. I have a lot of memories of the series. I will say this. Every company has to go in the direction they want to. When Final Fantasy started going to the looking real life games, there's to the point where games look so real that we start to criticize, I think almost criticize them more than the cartoony games. The cartoony games, you kind of get with goofy stuff, you kind of get with this and that. Some things you don't, but when you're doing real, like it looks in real life, whether you think about it or not, you kind of criticize every little thing a little more. But at the same time, Square's kind of said they want to get back to the basics with the Final Fantasy, but they also did say that Bravely Default, which was the retro kind of RPG we all who played the early Final Fantasies know, would be its own franchise, and Final Fantasy would be its own thing. So I think they're going to keep Final Fantasy kind of modern in a way. But I don't think they need to end it. I think they need to get back to what made the series great. Listen, it's funny because there was a time period when you had Grand Theft Auto and Final Fantasy, and the thing that to me that those two series had in common was why people focus on maybe the violence or the car stealing of Grand Theft Auto, or in Final Fantasy, the RPG element. What those two games had, that a little charm they had, was there were so many little things you could do if you wanted to. So you're playing Final Fantasy, you might go gamble in the casino, or do this or do that. Grand Theft Auto, find the RC track, obviously, on Vice City, you know, in the beach. So many little things that you could explore and find that were cool on top of it. And of course, good story. I mean, in Final Fantasy, good characters. I wouldn't say it's a good story. Characters that you could fall in love with, or had a strong story to them. But again, I've never understood why they have not made an open world Final Fantasy game. To me, that would only make sense. But again, I don't think they should bury the series. They need to redefine it properly. Don't focus solely on the graphics. Graphics can be secondary in RPG. They really can. What you need to focus on is the story and the world that we're going to be playing in. And that's all they have to do. What's funny when you talk about Final Fantasy, and I had a discussion with friends on Skype the other day, is when you look at last generation with Square, Final Fantasy was so much hype for when Final Fantasy 13 came out, but so hurt the franchise that so many people were disappointed. But they've had linear Final Fantasies before this, but this one just upset people. Where in the other case, even though Square made it, even though Nintendo published it over here at least, Dragon Quest IX on the DS is an awesome RPG made by the same company. How those two are squarely different. And it's surprising how they got Final Fantasy wrong, but got Dragon Quest so right. Dragon Quest IX is an awesome game. So, I hope they fix it. I don't think they should end it. I think they need to fix it. Just because they make a couple games wrong doesn't mean they need to bury it. They just need to fix it. Remember, when Final Fantasy started, RPGs were niche, and they've gone back to niche. Final Fantasy was the one that broke through the niche thing. And that's the one that, of course, will always get the most attention and almost criticism. Right or wrong, it's just always going to happen. So, the next video to talk about is from Mo Merch 1. It is Travel Back to 1985, an arcade room project. So basically, he's designing and going to make an arcade. He's making his arcade room, and he wants to have some 1985 stuff basically on the wall. So he's looking at a 1985 Montgomery Ward catalog, showing you all the toys and all the stuff that were on 1985. If you want to take a travel back to 1985, the Care Bears, Transformers, G.I. Joe, all that stuff you love in 85, toys, styles, whatever, check out this video. It's great to go back and look at that catalog, and he's going to take some of the pictures and frame them and put them on the wall. So if you want to go back there, definitely check it out. It's kind of fun to go back to that catalog and go, wow, I forgot that came out in 1985, but I remember I really thought it was cool at the time. And of course, the 80s styles back then were kind of funny when you look at some of them now. And the next video we're going to talk about is from HappyConsoleGamer. It is Q&A, Johnny and Rob. Now, what he did was basically went to Facebook and said, ask us questions and we will answer as many as we can in our Q&A video we're going to make. Now, this is the first time Johnny and Rob have actually done a Q&A together since, I want to say it was 5 years ago. Since they did a live stream one day. It was only supposed to be for, what, an hour or two? I remember watching the whole thing that day. I even believe it was on a Saturday, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. And I remember it was supposed to go for an hour or two, but they ended up like going for like 6 hours and just, you know, talking about what everybody talked about in games kind of stuff. If you want to hear them talk about a lot of different things, not just gaming, definitely check that out. If you want to get to know them, if you never watched their channel, definitely check it out. It's really cool. So, our next one is again another question, and this one is from SegaCDUniverse, and it is, what game character would you like to slap/beat up? A community question. We all have that character in the video game that we hate, that we just would love to smack or beat up if we had the chance. Depending on what gaming generation you came from, it could be a different character. Now, I have to think about this for a while. What character would I like to slack and beat up? Honestly, I'm trying to think of what off the top of my head right now To me, I'm going to talk about what it's going to be kind of generic, but it's just off the top of my head. Modern Warfare 3, the bad guy at the end. I just didn't like the character. I didn't like it. To me, what generic he was, and I really wanted to smack the crud out of him. Of course, you take him out at the very end of Modern Warfare 3. If you ain't played it by now, well, it's been out for a long time now. And I just didn't like that character. I'd like to pick another one, but that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. But basically, who would you like to slap or beat up in a video game that you just, for some reason, you hated that character so much, for some other character annoyed you so much that you wanted to do it? The last two videos I'm going to shout out now are basically video games. And the first one is from Collector Vision Games, Sydney Hunter and the Caverns of Death for the Super Nintendo. It's just basically a video to show how it's progressing. If you didn't know, Collector Vision is making basically, I know at least 3 games in Sydney Hunter, a Dreamcast game, a NES game, and a Super Nintendo game right now, all in development. And this is how far the Super Nintendo game's gotten. It looks pretty cool. It's just basically a little short video showing the character moving and like bats and stuff moving in the game. So you're interested to check it out. And the last one is ironically a game I just pre-ordered yesterday. It is from Gaijin Works, Class of Heroes 2G, PlayStation 3 dual screen play demo. So, what's significant about Class of Heroes 2G is, right now if you go to Gaijin Works website, you can pre-order it. It was only going to be up for a month. I believe that's how long it's going to be up. But basically, it's $50 plus $4 shipping, so $54. Basically, when that time runs out, and as many pre-orders they get for the physical copy, is as many physical copies they're going to make of this game, and that's it. So basically, kind of making it one of the more rare RPGs that will be out for the PlayStation 3. So if you haven't pre-ordered it, you might want to. What's cool about this, interesting about this game, is not just the fact it is an RPG, and it will be available in digital form, but physical form will only be this one pre-order, one physical release, limited edition, and that's it. But what's interesting about the gameplay of this is you can use your PSP or your Vita with your PS3 to do kind of a dual screen thing. So it is kind of cool that you'll be able to do that in this game. So check out the gameplay of it. If you like it, go check out their website. We can pre-order the game. Again, my wife loves RPGs, and when she found out this would be a rare one. If you don't know Gaijin Works, you probably should, because Gaijin Works is basically some remnants of Working Designs. So if you liked Working Designs, you may want to keep track of this company, because this is, I think, their first really, most everything they've done at this point has been basically digital. This is the first physical release of anything, which this is a monkey paw game, but again, this is the first release of a physical game for them. So anyway, so guys, that is all I got to talk about today's YouTube game community. Love to hear your comments about anything I talked about today. Go check out the videos. Anyway, like always, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys later. show off my screen, right?